Tonight you're mine completely.
Billy, it is an honor to speak with you, and it's always a pleasure. I mean, I've had the opportunity of interviewing you. I've had the opportunity of being in the audience as you performed, and I remember a few years ago I had the opportunity of introducing you to a crowd over at Kensington Market, and all of those for me just absolutely honors. You are a legend. You give back to the community. You are a role model. When you think about all the accomplishments that you've done and continue to do, how do you feel on how you have placed yourself in the Canadian music industry as in history and as, like I said, a great example of what a musician is supposed to be all about?
Well, Rudy, I've always considered myself to be a working singer. From the time I was in high school in my first band, I believe it was called, it was my first band. I was thinking it was the one before that. No, my first band was called The Illusions. And, I was really committed. I was in high school, and it was a commitment that I made for a couple years. And it led us to the Cleveland Teenage Fair, which we became second runner-up. And I'm going to tell you this because there's a story behind it, to the James Gang. And Dominic Triano was the guitar player in the James Gang. He had just taken this gig. So meanwhile, I'm a teenager. I must be 17, 18, and my band is second runner-up to that amazing band. And so it just kind of started, from there. My family insisted that I go and, go to university, and I did that. And when I arrived in university, I had to do a phys ed class. And I wasn't interested in football or basketball, but they offered this dance class thing. And so I went and I auditioned because they didn't have enough men, and this was at Ohio University. And so I danced my way through those years because I knew I could probably deliver a song, but I didn't really have the movement quite down. And so my years in university were dancing and not a lot of singing like before, as I had done, in high school and choir and all that stuff. And in those years, I made the decision that I wanted to become a Broadway performer. And after my 4-year stint in college, university, I went home for the summer, couldn't find work, didn't really look, to be honest, but had made a decision that fall I would probably take off and go to New York. And I had friends there who were working and said, you should come. There's opportunity here, and you should come. We'll take care of you. And long story short, I moved to New York, did some Broadway shows, and I came to Toronto. And, I still have domestic chores. That was the timer for the laundry. But anyway, I came here with a Broadway show. And I liked it here. And I met people. The shows were packed. The show was called Eubie. It was a piece about Eubie Blake. And seriously, I was here for those 6 weeks. But I had kind of come in and out before and done different things. But during that time, the show closed. They said, well, we're going to go to San Francisco, and do you want to go? And I said, oh, yes, I'd love to go to San Francisco and UB. And I got a call a few weeks later, the show is canceled. And I just started doing work here. I started with a little band here and just started doing some stuff. I worked with this guy, Bo, who I did a single called Romance. I got introduced to Paul Fiberman and David Bendeth, and here we go. And it all kind of just started that I went on this venture of, well, I want to be a recording artist. And it wasn't easy in New York at that time to record. At that time, they were looking for seasoned artists, singers. They were working with older people, let's put it that way. And I came here, and the opportunities just started rolling around. And, just thing after thing after thing led me to become this singer that I'm so fortunate in my life to have a voice. And I realized, I guess, somewhere down the road, and I think especially after I had met my partner, that my voice is my gift and I should share it. And I should share it with people to raise money to help others. And that's just kind of how my journey began, because last night I was sitting and thinking about the charities, that I'm involved in, and it's numerous. There are numerous charities that I got involved in, and so happy to this day that I get to do these events to raise money for the homeless, to raise money for the mentally and physically challenged, to raise money for the elderly, to raise money for street kids, to raise money to help people with drug addiction and substance abuse. And that's kind of where it all kind of sits, that I get to do that and entertain people to help others. When I did the Kensington Market Jazz Festival, it just kind of, I started thinking I really need to record again after I had done 2 recordings. And then I had this major recording with Deadmau5 in the dance world. And I
remember that.
Yeah, and I ended up with 4 Junos, but I just kept plugging away at thinking about what would I like to sing about. And Rudy, I always would go back to my roots, to Aretha, to Carole King, to just Elton John, Chicago, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, because I'm from Cleveland, and Cleveland is a really big rock town. It rides on rock, and that was kind of my think tank. But also, I was in awe, and always Sammy Davis mentored me. I actually did a show with him, but he mentored me, and so I had the Broadway thing. So I love singing good songs. I think, to answer your question, I like singing good songs, and I thought to myself, I'd like to record some stuff that I would want to sing every night for the rest of my life. Because singing a song is, after a while, people get tired of that song that was played over and over and over, and they had to tour, and then they had to sing that song over and over. And I decided I didn't want to be singing that way. I want to do something that I will carry in my heart. And that's where Have We Met came.
I'd like to know that your love, baby, is love I can't be sure of. Oh, so tell me now, and I won't ask again. Oh, will you still love me tomorrow?
And I started working with Mike Downs on the arrangements, and it's still growing. I'm in my next phase now of going into my gospel, the other side of gospel world. So there you go. That was a mouthful.
No, that was excellent. So,
thank you.
What are the songs on this new collection? And also, when did you record this? Because as we've been dealing this past year of 2020, it has been COVID-19, so many shutdowns, gray areas. As we speak, we're heading into an Ontario shutdown. When did you have a chance to record this? And again, what are the songs that you chose for this collection?
Well, I did this, over the last couple of years, and I didn't have to do it now. A year ago, March, the beginning of this year, I didn't have to do it. Well, I'll tell you the songs. One song is All the Things You Are. It's quite a beautiful song by Jerome Kern and Oscar Hammerstein. Grandma's Hands is another song. Bill Withers was always a great, great artist in my mind and said some very truthful things. And his root was always unique, I thought. I just love that kind of R&B, bluesy, Southern take on his work. And his work always reminded me kind of my upbringing and what that was like. Night and Day was a song I just chose, by Cole Porter that I had been singing over the years. It was a song I knew and I could just sing off the top of my head. And it was just kind of my take on my Ellington stuff and my Count Basie stuff that I had been listening to. I was and still am a very, very big fan of Barbra Streisand. And she recorded a song, Where or When. And I remember my mom gave me some money, I think, to buy this album. And it was red vinyl, and it was called Color Me Barbara. So I had been listening to this for many, many years. And then number 5, Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow, is just a classic. And I really related to the song because it was resonating so much of what I think about love and romance and my early years of struggling, with my own sexuality and who I was and the heartache and, just searching and seeking for that attention, that kind of love. And that's what that song does to me. And when I sing it, I actually can just relate to several scenarios in my past of why I felt that way, because I was just kind of confused because also struggling with my sexuality, when you do music, I don't struggle with it anymore because I'm a gay man and I've been out for many years. But struggling with your sexuality and song is a very, very interesting thing. And when I chose these songs, like I said, it were songs that I would sing every night, but they were also songs that I just related to. They were just in me. And I just decided I'm going to take this and I'm going to get this done. So that's what happened, and that's how it all came to be.
Will we get a chance to see you perform these songs, even though we really don't know what is going to happen in 2021 when it comes to the music industry and when it comes to live performances? I mean, that people have been doing virtual, people have been doing drive-ins. Last couple of days, we've been seeing performances streaming from the Alma Combo. Will we be seeing anything like that from you, from this great collection of music?
Well, yes, this is in the plan. It'll be virtual probably right now. We're launching this CD. We really haven't done any footage on it because I've been so busy really doing virtual performances. It's been a while, few months, and it's been wonderful that I've had those opportunities to sing. The Kensington Market Jazz Festival piece is wonderful. It's recorded and set, and we did it at Poetry Jazz Cafe. And what else have I done? I did a great Pride party. That was fun. That was just off the cuff, and I did something with a guy on piano. Later on, I've been recording for the Rainbow Railroad charity, the 519 charity, with Salah Bashir is a great philanthropist who approached me to do these recordings. And so those things are kind of out, but we're going to work on how we're going to do the visual. So the optic, we're working on the optic, let's put it that way.
I'm looking so forward to everything that you're doing. But before we start wrapping this up, though, I have to ask you, though, your thoughts on 2020, the fact of so many things happened in 1 year, COVID-19, the arguments, mask, no mask, am I going to get a shot, am I not going to get a shot, Black Lives Matter, racism being spoken in a way that has never been spoken before, the things that we're seeing on social media, the terms Karen and Kevin now have a meaning behind that. And, of course, what's been going on in the U.S. with the U.S. election, Biden, Trump, the outcome of that, what is still going on. I mean, my friend, you have seen so many different facets of life. You've experienced yourself. What are your thoughts on all of this, and what are your hopes for the future of 2021 and beyond that?
You know, Rudy, Black Lives Matters and means so much to me. Being a gay man, I have fought, though, and been an advocate of social justice. And I work with CANFAR, I work with Rainbow Railroad, I work with PWA, I work with ACT. I've been involved in all these different LGBTQ2S. You have to add the 2S on now. You know, I've been involved organizationally that way. And my thoughts have been, I've seen myself in a way that I never thought I would. I've cried. I've laughed. I've got to be creative. Thought, you know, Billy, you have to be creative. You have to not let the darkness of this situation, of the election, of COVID-19. I mean, you can't let this stop you. And you don't deserve, or let's put it this way. You can't hide under a rock. You're not allowed, Billy. You have to contribute. You have to keep moving on. You have to keep producing music. Something new that I'm doing is I'm working with a young man in Vancouver by the name of Cardano, and I'm doing some house tracks. Now, I mean, you know, house for me has always been a connection to the gospel world that I live in. So that's kind of how I fit. But I think just keeping on and being optimistic, because I don't think we've been given actually the lifeline in the sense of optimism enough. You know, people are talking about, well, this is going to change, and it's a very kind of uneven optimism. And I believe that I just have to keep smiling and singing and putting it out there. I don't get to jump on a stage like you really want to see me, like most people love seeing me on stage, because that's my favorite home is standing on the stage to perform. But that is really, I think, the crisis right now is just to keep making beautiful music and just trying to be involved from my home, you know, because I'm virtually here with my partner and my dog. And now, today, it's like a heavy-duty lockdown is due. And it really puts darkness, you know, there. So, Rudy, it's my job to get up, pull myself together, get up, get dressed, shower, get out there as if nothing is going on, but really be aware that something is going on and really be a part of that optimism that, yes, we're gonna get through this. I was watching John Legend last night, and he's brilliant. You know, he was just shining. And he gave me the incentive, like, wow, that's what you do. You get up, you sing, you get dressed, you look good, and you do the best you can. And you have something good to say, Rudy. You got to have always something good to say to people, because I always have to remember I am setting an example in life. And I'm not even going to talk about my age, because I've been around. I've seen so much. I mean, I was thinking, I saw Mahalia Jackson when I was 7. You know, I saw Aretha Franklin when I was 7 at Madison Square Garden. I saw this gospel cavalcade of singers. And I was 7 or 8 years old. And I just recall, actually, you know what, maybe I was 10, because it's a little clear there. But anyway, long story short, I saw all of this music in my life. And all of that time I'm bringing forward now to give people how I lived, what I've lived through in song. But again, being optimistic, being bright-eyed, being smiling, being social, And I think I said it all. I have a job. I have a job to do, Rudy, until I leave this planet, and it's music.
And the thing is, though, when you do leave this planet, your music will always live on. So we have that as a gift. And the gift
Always.
for me, gift for me is being able to speak with you the way I have over the years. Because you got to remember something. How you talk about Aretha Franklin being 7 and 8 years old?
Yeah.
I still remember being young and watching you on television, the Nylons, watching you on Much Music. So for me, to that kid who was watching you on television and watching you in concerts, to turn around and be able to say, I can introduce this man on the stage. I can talk to him on the phone. I can, see him on the street. We can sit down and we can have a conversation like we did about a year ago or so. We ran into each other down at Young and Bluer at the Hudson Bay Center downstairs.
Yes.
Like, to be able to do those kind of things is an honor for me. So thank you so much for that blessing. Thank you for the music.
Welcome.
Thank you for the music. And I am so looking forward to everything that you're going to be doing in 2021. And I'm crossing fingers that I get to introduce you again on stage, my friend.
Well, I want to say one last thing, because you really brought up something. Being normal is a gift when you've had the advantage of being so big and famous and here and there. I get the joy of being normal and seeing people and talking to people like you in that given moment. So that's something that's very special that I carry in my heart, because I get on the TTC, I get in an Uber, I get in a limo. I'm all of those people. And thank God I'm level-headed enough to be so grounded that I can be and live that way. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Have the best holiday ever. And like I said, looking forward to talking to you again in 2021. Thank you again, my friend.
Rudy, thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
Take care. Be safe.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Will you still love me too? My